After facing Michigan, Air Force head coach Troy Calhoun noted that Michigan could make it to a bowl game by just running out its defense and its special teams, just two of the three units, and they could score enough points and limit the other team to enough points. Eligible. Troy Calhoun, I'm right on the same path with you, the same mindset. Let's add Karan Higdon. If Michigan just ran the defense on there, the special teams, and gave the ball to Karan Higdon, yes, they could reach postseason play. Mark Rogers TV with an instant analysis of Michigan's overtime win over Indiana 27-20 in Bloomington. And if you have yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do. We invite you in to make comments and engage in the conversation with myself and a number of other people. As you will see in the videos, we bring on the best bloggers and broadcasters in the industry to discuss and debate college football. And this one started off with a Michigan offense that was putrid again, especially in the passing game, of course. John O'Korn was mostly awful. I thought early in the game on the first two series that they were trying to get him into a rhythm, throwing short passes, and to intermediate passes, and O'Korn looked okay. Zach Gentry is a tight end that is very good. They should get him involved, and looked again like they would the first couple series. They threw him the ball 2 times for 15 yards, and that was his final line, 2 catches for 15 yards. Of course, Donovan Peoples-Jones is a dynamic player, but they can't work him into the offense either much. He had 4 catches for 34 yards. Michigan comes out. They break down in the red zone. They ran it well. They completed some passes in key spots, but they broke down in the red zone. This team came into the game 124th in the nation in FBS football in red zone efficiency, averaging 1.8 yards per play in the red zone and bogging down to the tune of 50%. 50% of the plays that Michigan runs in the red zone are for 0 or negative yards. Nordine kicks the field goal. They go up 3-0. Indiana comes back, mounts a drive, go 53 yards, but Khaleke Hudson bats down a pass on a 4th and 3 attempt as Indiana was thinking, okay, we're on the fringe of field goal range. We know we're going to have to score points, or maybe they should have known they're not going to have to score that many points against this Michigan offense, but they go out on the 4th and 3 with a batted pass from Khaleke Hudson. Maurice Hurst blocked field goal. Michigan tracks it down at the Indiana 27-yard line, and that sets up Michigan for the touchdown to make it 10-0. O'Korn on a field goal drive late on the next series. O'Korn made an amazing play. So if this is all you saw from John O'Korn, you would think this guy can really get it done. He was trapped a number of times. He rolled right. He eluded rushers. He bounced off rushers. And then he threw this perfectly thrown ball downfield that threaded the needle between 3 different Indiana defenders. It was a beautiful play. Karan Higdon took it from there with some big gains inside the red zone, and Michigan led this thing at 13-0. Poor Simi Cobbs, one of the best receivers in the Big Ten and has been for the last 3 years. Had only, 4 catches for 39 yards, and 2 of the biggest plays in the game went against him. One was a 52, would have been a 62-yard reception that would have bailed Indiana out of a hole on its own end. They were down 13-0 at the time. He stepped out of bounds, did not reestablish himself in bounds, made a really good catch, brought it down inside the Michigan 25-yard line, but it was called back. Actually, the initial play was that the officials on the field ruled that he did establish himself in bounds. He clearly did not. Stepped out of bounds, only 1 foot back in bounds, caught the ball, ripped it off for 62 yards. And then Simi Cobbs would factor later into the game as well in a play, again, that he almost made. Michigan led 13-3 at half. Keep in mind, the Wolverines have won 21 straight against Indiana. The Hoosiers have not defeated the Wolverines since 1987. Think Bill Mallory, Anthony Thompson, the great Big Ten running back, just about the same time the last time they beat Ohio State. They beat the Buckeyes in 87 and 88. Karan Higdon's not just a talented back, he's a smart back. He chooses the right lanes and the right holes and knows when to bounce it outside and really has great vision. Indiana, continuous 3 and outs. Michigan at a number of times they would mount drives in which they would go to the running game and clearly could dominate Indiana up front. Then they would get a bit cute with the play action, and you can't just run the ball every play, but maybe Michigan should have tried in this game, because there were a few series in which they would gain 30 or 40 yards running the ball, would go play action off of that. O'Korn would make a bad decision or make just an awful throw, even if it was the right decision, and Michigan would be stymied there. Michigan's defense is borderline great. I don't like to throw that term around. I equate great to Hall of Fame. So if somebody says somebody's a great player, I typically say, well, would they go to the Hall of Fame, or is this a Hall of Fame season for individual players, especially in the pros? But this Michigan defense, Maurice Hurst with another tremendous play on a 3rd and 1 for Indiana, 3rd and a half a yard. Indiana trying to get back in the ball game. Hurst pushed back the offensive linemen. Really, 2 of them blew up the play and stuffed Indiana. Indiana with 4 straight 3-and-outs in the second half. Michigan trying to break the game open once Indiana cut it to 13-10. Went back to Karan Higdon, who ran at 59 yards for the touchdown. They went straight with the power ISO or the I formation play with the fullback, getting to the second level, taking out the linebacker. Michigan led it 20-10. Indiana comes back with a touchdown. They attempted the onside kick and thought that they had it with about 3 minutes left to play, down 20-17. Simi Cobbs once again grabbed the ball along the sideline. It wasn't definite as to whether he kept the ball in bounds and had possession of it. It was ruled that he was juggling as he stepped out of bounds. Therefore, Indiana gave it up. But the Hoosiers stopped Michigan's ground game, forced Michigan to punt, get the ball at their own 30 with just about 42 seconds left to play. Peyton Ramsey played his best portion of the game when it mattered, made some tremendous throws, showed his elusiveness, his scrambling ability to extend plays, and got Griffin Oaks in field goal range for the 46-yarder to tie it 20-20 to get to overtime. And then it turned into the difference between Indiana right now and Michigan. The Wolverines defense, one of the best in the country, top 5 with Alabama, Clemson, possibly Ohio State if the Buckeyes get it together and they show us something against a decent opponent. Those are the best defenses. Auburn's right in there as well. And Higdon. So Karan Higdon stuffed in the box, trapped, surrounded by tacklers, bounced it to the outside, ran at 25 yards. First possession of overtime. Michigan goes up 27-20. Karan Higdon, 25 carries, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Then the Michigan defense, after giving up a penalty on the pass interference, stuffs Indiana inside the 5. I thought the Hoosiers, instead of going with the read option play over and over, giving the ball inside, going to the strength of the Michigan defense, should have put the game in Peyton Ramsey's hands to extend plays and do the things that he had done. Sure, I understand it's the red zone. It's inside the 5. You have less space to work with, but Ramsey made the plays with his legs to extend plays and found open receivers to drive the ball all the way down the field in the last 40 seconds of the game. Give it to him to make the plays, but they could not. And then the interception in the end zone on the really desperation 4th down play. And Michigan, for a second consecutive time in Bloomington, and then barely winning in Ann Arbor against Indiana last year, the Hoosiers, their motto under Tom Allen is breakthrough. They're not breaking through. They had Ohio State down in the second half. They got blown out in the 4th quarter. They could have won this game against Michigan. They had some plays go against them, but still they didn't make the plays, and Michigan's too stout on defense wins it 27-20. So the Wolverines now 5-1. Got to get a whole lot better next week against Penn State on the road. Indiana 3-3, 0-3 in the Big Ten, and they take on Michigan State on the road. There you have it. Michigan wins 27-20. The Wolverines need to find a passing game, much like Ohio State. The Buckeyes have in recent weeks against inferior foes. We'll see if the Buckeyes can do that against better teams for Michigan. They're much the same team. Great defensive front 7, especially the defensive line. Special talents at running back, can't get the ball to playmakers on the outside. So Michigan's 5-1. Need to hear your comments on Michigan football. Also Indiana, right here on Mark Rogers TV.